Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. I just realized I had myself muted. It was my old Artcasters setup. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Jim. All right, you guys are going to be hearing a lot of weird noises. A lot of weird noises in the background. We have our roof being worked on. We had a leak, a couple leaks in our roof because our house is old. And so we have a guy working, reworking the roof, which is exciting. But needless to be said, what I was saying when I was muted is I'm working on the last 20 pages of Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And I was just kind of in the zone listening to music and kind of making progress and realized I should live stream while I work on pages. It's been a while. So anyhow, if you guys are curious, that book is going to be released in September of next year. You can pre-order it. I think there's a sale on pre-orders on Barnes and Noble. So I'd recommend going there if you want to save some money, or if you have Amazon Prime and you want to get free shipping. And enjoy the ASMR of cutting of chainsaws on the roof. All right, so here is. Are you guys hearing audio now in the chat? I hope you're hearing audio in the chat. So here's the page I'm working on currently. This is page 209 of Not Death But Love. And what I'm working on right now is basically shading said page. How are you guys doing this morning? It's a 3-day weekend for me, which is pretty exciting. I need to get through as many of these pages as I can because on Tuesday, my college classes start up again. I've been having a really fun time teaching art. We're going over the grid technique. I don't know if you guys have ever learned. I'm sure you guys have learned the grid technique, where you take like a photo and you grid it, and then you draw each square in the grid on a grid of equal number that's usually larger. It's like a muraling technique. But it's been fun to see the kids. I feel like in high school, that's a really good win for a project, because like sometimes art can be kind of demoralizing when you're learning the process. I'm going to take off these headphones because I just realized I don't need to wear them. art can sometimes be like demoralizing. I hope you guys can hear that, the noise of the roof work overhead. Um, so anyhow, art can be demoralizing when you're first starting it, and I think that giving kids a quick win, like the grid project, which is a project where if you kind of follow it step by step, it ends up coming out really super photorealistic and good. I think that's an important thing. What's funny is when I started this stream, the noise of the roof work was was much lower, and the second I hit record and go live, it started sounding like a train passing through a tunnel, and suddenly I'm hearing this like um my wife is helping me out with flats on the last few pages. I've pretty much colored the entire first 200 pages, and as I'm getting closer to crunch time, I've basically just given her like color guides and then been like, here, flat these. um, one advantage of having an artist as a uh, oh, nice. Jim said the only noise I hear is the noise of the J Boys. J Boys. J Boys.
J boys.
That's our gang. We uh we uh we graffiti the world with J Boys.
Best boy band in the world.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mai said it sounds like the best boy band in the world. So anyhow, I'm excited. I'm in good spirits. Like, it's weird to get this far in to a book, and what's cool is what I'm working on right now is like the climax. Well, a little bit after one of the main climaxes of the entire story, and so we're at climax and resolution, which is a pretty fun place to be. I can tell you this like last sprint, I have a lot more energy. And then I also this project, now that I think about it, has been about 4 years in the making. I've been working on this book for about 4 years. I didn't even realize it till the new year, and then I looked back and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have been working on this for 4 years." And I went back and tallied like what my page rate was, because I was like, I feel like I'm taking forever on these pages. And I averaged it out and I realized oh nice. Phil said I apologize in advance. I'm at work cleaning showers at the Y, so I can't really comment, but I'm listening. Nice. Be careful, Philip, in the showers at the Y, you know what I'm saying? That's a bad joke. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I'm a horrible person. But I'm glad you're listening to me at work. And how is work going, Phil? How are you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're getting a lot accomplished. I'm in good spirits because, like, again, I realized I've made about a page a week on this, and then the last week or so I've been managing to average about a page a day. And now I'm averaging about a page and a half a day. But I'm hoping today can be the day that I average at least 2 pages, because I need to get this thing done. But I also don't want to sacrifice quality. But what I was excited about was, because this has been a 4-year process, there's been 2 times where I needed mild extensions of deadlines because just stuff came up. I had a career change. Like when I first took on this book, I was an art director. And so I had a much more kind of set schedule, and I kind of reversed course on the art direction career and ended up switching to teaching high school. And now that I'm teaching, I'm basically working on my credential. So a lot of this like unforeseen stuff came up, And I'm glad my publisher. Oh, and then there was like a year-ish delay because there was a point in time where our original publisher got bought by Turner. And so we had a deal with one publisher, and then there was like a good half a year delay while they were kind of figuring out what to do with the previous publisher's contracts. So there's been multiple delays on this project, and I was nervous because technically my deadline was the 15th for this book, and I was really worried because I've been just going as hard as I can and as fast as I can, and still retaining quality on the book. But I wasn't quite expecting to not hit the 15th. So I actually, it's like the first time in my life where I didn't even contact the client. Like I felt really bad and I didn't know what to say. And luckily they got back to me the next day and said, "Hey, everything's looking beautiful as long as you get all the work by the 2nd. We're going to be able to hit the pub date, which is great. So we don't have to push the publication date. And I can definitely make it by the 2nd. I'm hoping I can beat that. That would be ideal if I could beat the 2nd. The goal is in this 3-day weekend, just getting literally as many pages as possible out of the way before the school year starts, and I have to be on a kind of slower schedule again. So yeah, that's basically where we're at on the book. But it was good news that the publisher was willing to extend the deadline. I am not a person to miss deadlines very often, and so that kind of psyched me out at first. But I realized, especially the more I've read about the process of graphic novels being made, I think this is a pretty pretty common thing. I was thinking about it. If I took like 6 panels per page, which is my average panel rate on this book, it's all kind of loosely based on a 6-panel grid. So if I do 6 times 200, that's like 1,200 drawings, 1,200 panels. That's kind of nuts. So I've done over 1,200 on this thing, and it makes sense that that's going to take a little bit of time, especially, you know, this not being like the full-time gig and stuff. But anyhow, so what I'm doing here is I'm working on my page. I'm going to go ahead and render this page, and then that'll be this stream. And then I'm going to try to do a few more live streams as I'm working, because I've kind of fallen out of the habit of live streams while working. And I love live streaming. I love hanging out with you guys while I work. But I also really like listening to podcasts and listening to other shows and stuff like that. So that's mostly what I've been doing while I've been in just crazy crunch time on this. But I thought, hey, you know what? Let's go live. So anyhow, I'm excited. The book looks great. The cover preview on Barnes & Noble looks pretty amazing. And again, this is just kind of like a work of 4 years that it's like a 4-year marathon where I'm finally seeing the finish line, which is pretty exciting after 4 years of this. And I think my wife is excited about it too, because like this occupies so much of my free time this last year, that on top of school, it's like pretty much when college starts, it's like my family sees me like for a very brief time on the weekends, you know, like because by the time I get home, I'm like working on comics and then going to sleep. And that's pretty much just been my life, is like working on homework, working on comics, or sleeping. And I'm excited about just being able to kind of like hang with the family and you know, I don't know. We have a little gift card we got for Christmas, so maybe we can all go out to eat when this is done on our little gift cards. But yeah, a lot of weird stuff. Like home ownership's interesting. You guys probably would be familiar with this, but it's like the the time we bought this house, it was about 30 something years old when we originally bought it. And so there's just stuff that comes up in houses like roof leaks and um drain issues and electrical and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice that we were able to get the our roof fixed, because like that was, we were kind of worried that for for a little bit there that we would have to go another year just dealing with like our roof just pouring water out of it for a little bit. So I'm glad we were able to get that fixed up. That's a big thing for us. And then finishing the comic is really exciting. So I'm pretty pumped on where this is all gonna go. Um, I know that the author of this was talking about potentially trying to get like a seance as like a signing event. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but I think that would be super fun. Um, but I'll keep you guys informed on that stuff as it gets closer to the publisher date. But I do think that would be really fun. Since there's seances in the book, it would be interesting to have a seance where we're trying to raise Elizabeth Barrett Browning, talk to her about the book. I don't know. I think that could be really fun. Um, all right. The scene I'm working on right now is um basically Elizabeth has just had a confrontation with home. She's kind of found out the nonsense that's going on. Um with the with Sophie and her plot. And so now she has left the house where they've had this confrontation, and now Robert is talking to her about it. And then Elizabeth, who's been really sick at this point, she's been very sick, um, is finally feeling pretty much like, I think, a weight lifted, and decides to walk home rather than take a carriage. So that's the scene I'm working on. But yeah, it's been a wild few just a wild like few weeks of just nonstop working on comics. But I don't want to make this sound like a complaint. This is kind of like, I do love comics, and it's kind of like it's cool to be in the position to be able to do this. Sometimes I have to remind myself of like how hard it was when I was working on two stories and I had no hope of anyone publishing it. And I was still working on this thing like with just trust that at some point someone would want to read it. And with that book, I think I spent, I don't know, how long did I spend on two stories? I don't know. I carved away at it slowly over, I think, like 5 or 6 years. And it was the same with Jacob's Apartment, where there was a point where I didn't think that would ever see the light of day. And I was still like kind of showing up, getting it done. So, like, this is a unique position that I should be really thankful for, which is, I am really thankful for, which is, just being in a position where I know when I'm done with this book, it's going to be on shelves. Like, that's pretty cool. Um, Pretty rare thing, or a thing that was hard fought. It took years to get there. So, um, for some people, maybe it's not that big a deal, but for me, it's pretty exciting to be at that point in my career where I'm pretty sure that I'll have a publisher for Two Stories Book 2. I think Marcosia is still down. And then I think I have some other potential things lined up after this as well. So now it's like I've kind of, God willing, it feels like I've kind of reached finally an area or a point in my career where it's not about finding a publisher. It's more about like just finding time, like that's more the struggle is like, when am I going to do these things? And what do I really want to do, which is a really blessed point of life to be in. But I'm really excited about this book. I would encourage you guys to, if you've been following my streams and stuff like that, definitely make sure you pre-order it. I think I had mentioned the pre-order last year, and well, yeah, I guess that would be last year now, but like towards the end of last year, and then they had to change the publication date. So those pre-orders, I don't think exist anymore. Luckily, they don't charge for pre-orders. So, but this time, this date is solid. It will happen. So, yeah, definitely make sure you get that order in, that pre-order. Phil said, "Work is work. It's a paycheck." Yes. I think having a gig is a good thing. Having paid gigs is a good thing. There's been a lot of interesting stuff happening in the world. A lot of discouraging things, but I was talking to a couple buddies. Jim's in a chat with me, and a lot of the Crestline folks, who you guys might have met during Artcasters, like our Crestline meetups, or sometimes we've done Crestline episodes. I think we did one for New Year's. But we were all talking about how in troubled times where there's weird stuff happening, it is really nice to have like a project to kind of keep your mind occupied. I was trying to think, like, what do people do if they don't have to I guess maybe they just do drugs, or like watch like just consume stuff, like buy stuff or watch stuff. I don't know. It's interesting, like just thinking about what other people do when times get rough. Whereas for me, it's like it's been pretty nice to have this book just to kind of like keep my brain occupied. Philip was saying, well, I was referring to my work at the Y. Yeah, work at the Y is good, man. I mean, it sounds like they've been treating you well. Philip said art gigs are good though. I'd rather be doing that. I don't know. It's a mix for me, cuz like one of the things I like about teaching art is it's separate enough from commerce that I can kind of feel a renewed passion when I'm working on something like this. I think at my old job there was so much commercial art I was, having to do daily as an art director. Like you're just plugging out like endless designs and illustrations. And it's kind of thankless work, at least where I was at. And so I feel like by the time I got home, just having fuel like to kind of keep going. Whereas now, like when I'm teaching, it's like it's different enough. Like I'm still doing a lot of drawing, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like the same kind of stuff. It feels more like doing fine art, like painting and drawing and like more traditional stuff. Um, so there's like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's like there's like a separation between like my really serious work and then the kind of teaching the foundations of art. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've found that to be really cool. And then I got really addicted to a YouTube show called Caleb Hammer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this show. It's like Jerry Springer, really. It's horrible. it's it's like a financial analyst who will have people on who are struggling financially, and and then it just turns into like kind of a just like a yelling fest where, where it's like a bunch of strange people. I don't know. I've been enjoying it. It feels almost like Judge Judy of finances. That's been going on. Our dogs have been having a rough time, and that there was no pun intended there. Um, they've been having a really rough time. But no, it's kind of sad. Like since the roofer came to start working on the roof, they're just walking around the house like, who the hell is in our house? Like they've just been like losing their marbles. It's been pretty funny, but sad. And they've needed a lot of reassurance because they're just hearing like bang, bang, bang on the roof. Yes, they're like trying to be guards. And they already have enough trouble being guards because they're tiny, cute little pups. But then now they're hearing, it's like, imagine just having somebody knock on your door. Imagine you're a dog and there's just somebody perpetually knocking on your door for like hours on end. Oh no, why is my computer freaking out? Okay. My computer freaked out for a second there.
Save!
I will save. But anyhow, I cannot wait to get to the last page of this incredible journey of this book. Oh my gosh. That mark happened like 20 hours after I made it. Okay. I gotta say, I really respect roofers, man. We lucked out. Like my family, I have family in the area, and you know, another thing with owning a home is like you kind of end up sharing and calling other homeowners to be like, hey, when your electrical goes out, who do you call, right? You kind of need handymen and people who know stuff about houses. If you're like a weird guy like me who, dude, I don't know anything about like plumbing or auto mechanic stuff or any of that like guy stuff. Um, and occasionally I'll like figure stuff out, like watching YouTube videos and stuff. But when it comes to something like uh, papering your roof.
I don't think even your average man knows about that.
Yeah. So anyhow, it was nice that
Plumbing roofer up there, by the way.
yeah, there is. Oh my gosh, they have a team of people doing the roof, and I went out there just to like talk to the guys who's running it, and it was amazing. Like this lady who's up there on the roof, like she kind of reaches her hand out, and this guy tosses an axe up to her, and she catches it just with like one swift thing, and then just starts using it on whatever she was using it on. And I was like, you guys are the coolest people on the planet. I feel like when I see that kind of work, it makes me appreciate any work that I'm doing, because that's real work. You know what I mean? Luckily, the weather's really good, so they aren't like laboring away in the sun. But it was cool to like have somebody we knew who had had their roof worked on, because I think otherwise, it's a fairly expensive thing to have done. So like otherwise, I think we might have lost our shirt. My computer is really laggy on this. Yeah, might have to restart at some point, but I'm gonna try to get through what I can. Ooh, touch sensitivity is barely working. It might be that I haven't compressed my layers in a while, so let me do that. It is
It
funny.
was like completely quiet. Like
It was really
just, like,
quiet
5
before I
minutes
started my
ago.
stream, and then the second I started my stream, it's just like. And the sad thing is, that's not even the roofer. That's just what I had to eat. You know the. Excuse me.
I did make chili yesterday.
I have to make bad dad jokes. This is a requirement. So anyhow, we're working on comics. We're in crunch time. But it's been fun to see kids like unlock the grid technique, because one of the things I love about the grid is like a lot of art. Um, when you're starting, is like learning how to see shape. Philip said, he said, I'm listening with earphones and it sounds like biplanes outside. I should do it like a war broadcast, you know? And be like, we're here amid the plane attack in California. You never know with like what's been going on in Michigan and stuff, you know? Maybe they are biplanes. ICE has planes now. I don't know. Philip, what does the like news about the US look like right now? Do we just sound like a crazy like war zone? I don't know, man.
Like so psycho.
Like there's times where I'm like super proud to be an American, you know? And then there's times like this where I'm like really embarrassed and I feel bad. Like and I feel like I have to apologize for another country, you know, like I'm so sorry. We're so stupid. Um All right, we're doing this. We're kind of adding some shading. Can you guys hear all this madness? But yeah, so welcome to my biplaned existence. I'm here doing correspondence while the biplanes are flying above. Philip said, do you want the honest truth? I do. I would love the honest truth, as long as it's a TOS safe. Just don't Fed post, okay? But yes. Yes, give me the honest truth. Because it's been wild, man, being in it. I will say I'm very thankful I live in California. Jim's doing a callback to a joke, and I'll gladly stand up. That bit is so funny, Jim. I've tried to explain that bit to other people, and I feel like it was just I don't know. It has to be delivered by you, Jim. It me doing it is like the equivalent to like recapping like a really good comics bit. Like I'm just not gonna do it right. And I also think you need to not sleep for like days for that joke to land. Philip said, "I mean, I love you guys, but it sounds terrifying." Yeah, it is pretty horrifying. Yeah, the best I've explained it to other friends who live outside of the country is um imagine like a cult, like a weird cult just took hold of the entire system, like and they're a minority, like the cult is like it's not the majority of people, but it's big enough to like where the cult can kind of start taking over the levers of power, and it
Kind of like the Nazi party. It's starting to gain momentum.
yeah, I mean it's pretty scary, yeah. It's kind of weird, and it's hard to know what to do exactly about it, because it's just like you keep kind of hoping that people will wake up, but they just get more and more delusional and weird. Um, like I keep having hope that people will just like wake up from this like psycho dream that they're all living in, where like truth is whatever it is on a weekly basis, and it's all dictated by like a figurehead. That's a little disconcerting, and it.
To the point where he could like be actually a child rapist and nobody would do anything.
Well, I mean, I think he is. That's the thing.
Well, no, he is. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that like
He can
he
kind of
could
get away
be a
with.
child rapist.
Yeah, there was like a quote years ago where the orange man said that he can do um yeah, Phil said the Orange Frankenstein wants to annex my country, so we're kind of on the defense here. Yeah, and so you should be, right? It's just a bizarre, like, again, it's just we're in clown world right now, where there's this clown and he dictates
He's not freaking normal.
what's true, and people just kind of soak it up, and it's really bizarre to know how to even deal with. Like, I've even stopped even talking about it, because I just, anytime I talk to somebody who's a supporter, like, they just have no consistency whatsoever with their views, and so they'll kind of shift, like on a weekly basis they shift. So they'll have like high priorities on one issue, and then kind of like the Cheeto guy basically says, no, I'm gonna change the issue, and the second he changes what the talking point is, like, it's like millions of people just change with him. It's really strange. So anyhow, like I said, I'm glad I have a book to kind of keep me occupied. Because yeah, I don't know where we're going. I just know that I don't know. We'll get there. We'll see. Just take it day by day. But I am sorry, Philip.
We don't all feel that way.
Yeah, there's definitely a good chunk of people in California who kind of almost would wish that Canada would annex us. Like, you know.
So down in Mexico, let's join.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I have definitely. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird times over here, okay? But hopefully people wake up. I don't know. I mean, I've heard people get deprogrammed from cults, but the scary thing is when it's a cult that like is a political party, that's like kind of a new one. Like, I think with regular cults, like religious cults, it takes like 20 years or something to like deprogram somebody from a cult. So I really don't know where we're going. It's going to be interesting. But different realities, you know? It's just it just gets so cartoonishly weird. Like, yeah. Okay, so we're going to do just a little bit of stuff. Yeah, Philip said, "I know you want our delicious free healthcare." Yeah, I mean, if we were in a sane system, that could be what we'd be working towards, but instead we're like backing some guy who's doing taxation without representation through tariffs. And the people backing it are people who like are rocking "Don't Tread on Me" flags, you know? They're like the guys who were all like, they get the Constitution like tattooed on their arm, kind of guys. And a lot of these dudes have like, I mean, they're completely okay with like the Supreme Court getting taken over, and the just basically rewriting the thing they have tattooed on their arm. It's like, I don't know, it's very strange. Again, it's not if I had written this as a like dystopian book, it would be hard to believe. Like 10 years ago, I think it would be really hard to believe we'd get to this point, but here we are.
Well, no, because we've been saying it for years.
I mean, we've been saying it's coming, but it's like, again, it's like you're talking to a cult. So
no, that's a big deal. You
yeah,
shouldn't be able to do that.
yeah, I don't know. So anyhow, I don't know.
When I first got nominated, I was talking. Remember, we were at a restaurant with my dad, and we were like, "Dude, this is awful." And we were like, whatever.
Yeah, it's been weird. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I have a book to work on, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, like some of the most disturbing stuff, there's a couple shows like where, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on what it's called. There's like this debate show where they'll have like one person debate like 60 people in like a second or in 5 minutes or something. And it's really bizarre to watch those now because it's like literally, debates used to be kind of fun to watch. They aren't even really fun to watch anymore because like you have one side who's like bringing at least some semblance. Like, I'm not saying both parties have always been centered in reality, but now it's like it is bizarre because it'll be like one side bringing actual facts and statistics and science and stuff like that, and then another that's just like, no. And they're like, that's just not how I feel. And it's really weird. It's all based on like feelings, which is, I don't know. Anyhow, I shouldn't go on about it too much, but needless to say, that's been a little discouraging to see. But I just have hope for the midterms, and I'm glad I'm in California. That's all I can say. Hope for the midterms, and I like the state I'm in. I feel like we're kind of the most okay. Amid this madness. But yeah, it's nice to have things to keep you busy because I don't know what else other than making art or like music or whatever. I really am not not like much of a fighter, so I don't really know exactly what else what else to do than just talk about it. I have to be a little vague talking about it because who knows where we're heading, But yeah, it's strange. It's gonna be interesting, Philip. In like a couple years, if I do live streams, in a couple years, and we keep heading down this path, I might be like, well, life is great. Our great emperor is wonderful. All hail the emperor. You know what I mean? Like, it might be kind of dark.
Can I come live with you?
We might be calling you up, Philip, to like funnel us across the border, through like some sort of a secret underground lair or something, just to get out. like I don't know. It's weird times, man. But I'm hopeful, assuming we have midterms. It's a weird thing to say, but assuming we have midterms, and they actually count the vote, I think things will look up. And I'm hopeful because, like, the one thing that also gives me hope is entropy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's rare times in your life, like, where, like, death is not a good thing. And death is very sad, and it's sad that we all get old and die. But then when I think about the age, that that a certain Cheeto is like kind of creeping towards, that gives me some hope because I'm like, okay, Like that, there's just some signs that it might end soon. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's kind of my hope there. Philip was saying if we're still here, yeah, we'll see. But anyhow, so all is great in the great great country of America. Um, we're all so happy with our system, and we're making comics. So pre-order my comic. It's cool. It talks about the Brownings, Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning. That's pretty exciting. There's been a lot of just like wild stuff, man, that I just would not have. Yeah, I don't know. Been pretty disappointed in my fellow countrymen. Let's just put it that way. All right. While I was working, I watched a couple things. I watched some Netflix stuff. That was kind of fun. I watched a really bad action movie. It was actually pretty good with like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, which I was surprised by because I usually want to dislike them. But it was kind of fun. Like that I had on the background while I was working. I feel like escapist stuff is kind of. I'm kind of glad I'm working on the book I am right now because like the books I've worked on before are kind of dark thematically, and this book, while it's mysterious and goes into dark areas and territories, it's also kind of like there's good triumphing over evil, and we need to read stuff like that. You know, sometimes that's a good thing, and I'm kind of glad I'm having this as a break with the backdrop that we have right now. So we're just coloring. We're
I watched the Genghis Khan documentary. That was cool.
Oh, my wife said she watched a documentary on Genghis Khan. That was pretty cool.
I think he died after in a hunting accident. From a hunting accident.
I didn't remember that. I do when you say it, I feel like I knew it, but I don't want to pretend I knew it. But yes.
Internal injuries.
Yeah, Genghis Khan like died of internal injuries in a hunting accident. So like he got thrown from his horse, which is kind of cool. Yes, I think I was familiar with that, but I had forgotten.
I did not realize that he went all the way to Europe.
Oh yeah, no.
I really thought that he took over Asia, like all of China and all that.
Genghis
Did
Khan.
a lot of, but he went all the way to freaking Europe and Russia and stuff.
Yeah, no. Genghis Khan was came really close. There's a couple men in history who've come really close to taking over the whole world, and he definitely got pretty far. There's a reason when people take like 23andMe tests that we all like most of us have like I forget it's like something like 1% Genghis Khan. Like it is wild. So but I think from what I recall, it's man, you know, I am an art major who likes history, but I'm not like a history major. But from what I remember, I think the most successful, the guy who came closest to taking over the whole world, from what I remember, I think was Alexander the Great, though. I think he was the one who came the closest. Let me see. Let me ask.
No, Bernie.
Who came closest to taking over the world? And that's something I like. One thing that's encouraging about the time we live in is just remembering, like, I mean, I guess we've been. Jim said, I prefer Genghis's younger sister, Shaka Khan. Shaka who? Shaka Khan. Okay, let me see. I have to see if my memory's serving me right here. What person came closest to taking over the world? Asking Genghis Khan and then Alexander the Great. So Genghis Khan, it says by the time of his death, he had created the largest continuous land empire in history.
Yeah, it was crazy.
His successors expanded it to cover about 22 to 24% of the land surface, stretching from China to Eastern Europe. Militarily, this is the closest any empire has come to true global dominance by conquest alone. But Alexander the Great conquered most of the Western world by age 30. Dude.
What am I doing?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Like, if I think about that, somebody conquered most of the world by age 30, and I'm struggling to get one comic done.
We suck.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel like making a comic might be a more positive contribution
That's true.
than pillaging half the earth, you know. But I don't know. I mean, we're heading into weird territory. Like, so here's the thing: as a history nerd, just objectively looking at where we're at in the U.S., I mean, I guess we're very fortunate to have lived in a democracy for as long as we did, because historically, democracies just don't like they're kind of a blip on the map. People tend to really like violent figureheads who disrupt and destroy all the peace in the world. So, yeah, that's a good point. Philip said, wasn't it the Brain who came closest to taking over the world?
Are you talking about Pinky and the Brain?
He is talking about Pinky and the Brain.
Aw.
I loved that show so much. The idea, just the premise of that plot is so good. Like a lab mouse who every episode tries to take over the world. And I always loved when he'd make like a person that he like, it'd be like a politician robot or something, and he'd be like inside controlling the brain. That would almost make me be okay with what's happening right now. If you saw like an X-ray of Donald Trump and it's actually just brain like in there just turning the levers, I might be like, okay,
You can have the world.
well done. People are dumb. Because I vaguely remember. I need to rewatch because that might be one of those shows that I'm remembering more fondly than it was because it's been a long time since I've seen it. But I do remember. I think there was an episode where he does become like a politician.
I think he was in a costume though. I think it was just himself.
Oh, that's right. I think it was just a fake body, but it was just his head. And then finally they exposed that he was just a mouse, and I think it ruined his whole plan, but he was a candidate and like
He was the president actually. I don't remember.
I can't remember if he got elected. Yeah, I don't know. I need to rewatch it. Yeah, Genghis Khan was crazy, man. That's something a lot of people don't realize is that
Shot his half-brother in the back.
a lot of
Shooting
history
his fish.
was just like most people throughout all of civilization would like get their village set up and everybody would be prosperous, and then Vikings or Mongols would just like come and just raid and destroy everything and be like, you serve us now. That was a lot of history. A lot of history was just like you're
He did do the whole Caesar thing where he let people kind of do their own religion. They just had to sort of pay tribute to him.
well, that's one of the things that
So he didn't like
Yeah.
after the fact, which is they said that was one of the reasons why he was so successful.
No, totally. That's a technique. Like, so for the people who took over, came closest to taking over the Earth, all of them had a common tactic of like they would take over a territory and then let people do their customs within the territory. And often the downfall would be like, for instance, Alexander the Great had his biggest success when he would take over an area and then designate somebody who was popular in that area as like a vassal to him. So that guy would basically know the culture, know the customs of the area, and then collect taxes for Caesar. But the problem was when, or not Caesar, but for Alexander. And so like the problem always comes up where this happens with all the people who usually try to take over the world is when they involve too many relatives, and then usually there's like internal um, fighting between relatives, and there's no clear successor, and that usually like collapses the empires. But like the guys who've come the closest were usually really good at delegating out and integrating local cultures and religions.
He actually made like a city center, and he was the one that managed to get them all out into Europe. It was like amazing.
Yeah, but they're all hideously violent
But
too.
he
That's
was the
the
one that
that's the
Genghis
scary
had
part.
appointed his like second son or something like that.
Kubla?
Genghis Khan. No, his name was different.
I thought Kublai Khan wasn't that the successor to Genghis, or was he the dad? I can't remember.
But even Genghis was named something else.
Now I want to look that up. I'm now we're waxing on history, my wife and I. Kublai Khan. Kubla. Was he the son or the father?
He's just a character in Cobra, Karate Kid.
You're distracting me, Hunt. My like autistic self is like, I need to find this out.
Sorry.
Yes, he was the grandson. Okay, Kublai Khan was the grandson. Yeah. Okay. So then I don't remember what his direct son was, but I think Kublai was fairly well regarded, but I can't remember
This guy made that
how it all
big
collapsed.
city. Whatever.
Yeah, so a lot of people like it's funny, people have this like really weird Eurocentric view of history too, where they think that Europe did all the major scientific innovations and stuff like that, but they forget about the Dark Ages where it was pretty much like the Ottomans and like actually like more kind of like from the East that was like preserving, like the Middle East was preserving a lot of our history, our books, our and also advancing mathematics and stuff, while we were kind of having a weird cult moment in European history too. So like it, I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening here in the U.S. is just like our weird cult moment where we had it too good, and now it's gonna. Yeah, it could be the slow decay of a democracy, which would be really hard to live through. But I guess we're fortunate to have been in it while it wasn't so crazy. Yeah, a lot of people forget how fragile these things are that we have. Because like the sad part of a democracy is it really requires like the buy-in of the people to have a democratic system, or even a republic. They both kind of require the buy-in of the people, and if you don't have the buy-in of the people, it can degrade to like a dictatorial system pretty quick. Yeah, I want to watch that doc. That's another. That's classic, Jim. That's like the best joke I heard all day. Jim said, "Don't forget his nephew, San Diego Comic Con." Yes, that is the his greatest predecessor became the biggest convention in the world. So the con name lives on through comic conventions, Comic Cons. That's true. Comic Cons are the predecessor to the Genghis dynasty.
Successor.
Oh, the successor, not the predecessor. Thank you, Mai, for correcting my dead brain there. That would be fun to do. See, this is the stuff I miss, like from working on this, is like being able to sit down with my wife and watch like a cool Genghis Khan documentary. Do you see what I'm missing out on for this work? Like I could have been hanging out with my lady watching a documentary, and instead I'm
Getting educated.
working on this stupid book. I'm kidding. It's not a stupid book. I'm lucky. It's a good book. Unfortunate. I'm a little bit like, I'm excited to be done with this, but like the funny thing is when you get this far in, you're like this close to the finish line, you start thinking about all the things you could have done. Khan. Yes, that's true. There's the Wrath of Khan too.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we actually had Khan on an Artcasters. I don't know where Scott was, but we had Khan. He's very verbose.
Son of a. My selection. Damn it.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife's been helping with flat coloring and on the last few pages here, and is being introduced to the joys of flat coloring comics, where you have all your selections and then you accidentally click off of it, and you're like, crap. Welcome to my life.
I like your life.
But
you guys do this?
I will tell you guys, this is going to be a beautiful book. This might be visually the best book I've made. Which here's something I'm really proud of is as an artist, I do feel like every book I've published has gotten visually more and more stunning. So, which is kind of the direction you want it to be going. Yeah, it would be awful if everything I published was worse than the last one. So I'm proud of this. Like, I've changed up the my style entirely on this book, and it might be the prettiest book I've ever made. I looked through the printouts a couple days ago just to get some, like, a second wind on it, you know? I mentioned this on Artcasters too, but like if you guys are ever working on a long project, I would imagine in animation this would be similar to like make sure you're rendering scenes as you're doing them, because you can lose track of the bigger picture pretty easily. But when you see a couple scenes stitched together, I would imagine that would give you a second wind. I don't know, Jim, do you do that? Do you do like you'll kind of chunk out some different scenes just so you get like some juice? Anyhow, if you're ever working on a book, make sure you print it out as you're working on it, because that'll keep you going. Because you'll feel like lost sometimes. You'll lose the forest for the trees sometimes, and being able to have a little chunk of forest printed out, you know. Jim's got me all paranoid. This was hilarious. I'll have to play this on stream sometime, but there was a time where I said something about vibrations. I was talking about like the vibrations of the universe or something like that. And Jim Lujan clipped me saying vibrations and then made a whole song, like a funk, like girl, you know, kind of song. And it was amazing, but it also makes me a little self-conscious when I'm talking now. Because I'm like, what am I going to say that Jim will sample?
Some weird
to make into like a funk love song. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Watching documentaries with my girl.
Yeah, girl, I got a documentary. There's a free one for you, Jim. I got some Genghis Khan. You got a Genghis? I could see a Genghis Khan song, like a Shaka Khan, but it's all about Genghis. It's all about the Genghis guys.
They go to Comic Cons. Genghis Khan.
Anyhow, so that's one of the weird things about being a guy who likes watching documentaries or history is there's the side of me that's horrified by what's happening in my country. And then there's the side of me that's like imagining what this would look like from the outside. Like, is this that part of the documentary where it's like, and stupidly they went with the orange man, and it's like, oh, okay, the Orange Emperor spread his armies to Greenland, and the people did not dissent. I don't know. That's the parts that that's the part that I guess keeps it kind of
Waiting for the documentary after the fact.
yeah, like you can kind of see it from like a bird's eye perspective of like, okay, this is kind of part of the arc of history, and like history does repeat itself, and people are stupid. Like just historically, I mean, like, okay, you have this great enlightenment where people were starting to like really come across like some pretty revolutionary science. They were almost to the point, humans were almost to the point where we had figured out like that you can't just operate on somebody, like you can't do surgery without like, cleaning the tools that you're doing surgery with. We're right on the brink of that discovery, and then suddenly the Catholic Church like takes over like half the world or half of Europe, and then they're like, yeah, actually, scientifically, what really works is just cut people and let them bleed out the badness because it's demons. And then we just go into this weird, like, art hits this peak like in Greece and Rome, where like people are studying anatomy and they're learning form, and like they're doing this like beautiful artwork. And then the Middle Ages, like the Dark Ages happen, and people are like, the Catholic Church literally goes, you can't draw people in proportion, and when you draw somebody's hands, they have to be in these weird gestures like signifying like their relationship with God. And suddenly art just takes a back seat, and we just devolve. Like that is something we are really good as humans at doing, where we're like, we have a good thing.
What you're saying is, I don't know.
Well, no, like the Dark Ages are like a really good example of like what happens when a cult, like a group of people basically repress knowledge and choose like consciously to go backward and just ignore scientific innovation and stuff. And that literally that happens over and over again. Jim says, I build the films as I go. It helps give the feeling of the final project as you're going along. Yeah, because if you forget, like the vision I always try to keep in mind while I'm working on these big projects is like, what is the final book going to look like? Like, I need to visualize it like on a shelf, like somebody reading it, and being able to look at the page count as I go really helps. Philip was saying, would that make you a con artist? Nice. I just think it's funny that in all the dystopian stories, people imagined, the evil politician would look something like a Gavin Newsom or something, like a handsome guy with like a square jaw, and like, and actually no, they want like it's a cartoon guy with like an orange tint to their skin and like a hairpiece. It's like the guy looks like a used car salesman who's managed to like dent democracy in the US like worse than any politician before. You know, everybody was worried it was going to be Obama for some reason. You know, a handsome, like well-spoken individual, um, really highly educated, like, you know, proficient, like writing really beautiful speeches that sway the masses into delusion. That's what a lot of people thought at that time. I didn't, but a lot of people did. And no, it was actually like the guy with a hairpiece who's like,
I think people just really like Cheetos.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just because I can kind of get down with that. Like, I love cheese, okay? I really like cheese. Maybe people have just misunderstood that
He's made of cheese.
he's
He
made of
must be
cheese. He must be
awesome.
harmless. He looks a little Cheeto-ish. I love Cheetos, you know.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Cheetos are delicious. So
They are Cheetos are delicious, so maybe people just
they just seem like
maybe
a over processed food. So
I'd be on the lookout for Jim said, "Be on the lookout for my new single, Welcome to My World of Flatting Colors, my." I like it. But yeah, maybe that's the part that I wasn't seeing in this dystopian future, is that really it was Big Cheeto the whole time. Like, they were trying to get people from a young age really comfortable with the, you know,
like flaming
the
hot
quick
Cheetos.
joy of just crunching on a big puffy Cheeto. And, you know, you get little kids like from elementary school on, you know, they were putting these little Cheeto puff balls in all of our classes. And really it was just to get us comfortable with being ruled by a Cheeto. I think that's pretty much that's the part of the conspiracy theory we all missed, guys, was like big Cheeto, you know, getting people comfortable with getting very little nutrition but a lot of joy from a big puffy Cheeto, you know. We all thought it was, you know, big pharma or big something, but nope, it was big Cheeto. I could see that. I could see that. What's the company that makes Cheetos? Maya was saying she thinks it's Lay's potato chips that makes Cheetos. I think that must be it. It's Lay's really just installing their figurehead, their mascot, you know.
I'm hungry.
And then if you think about it, like Mr. Potato Heads, right, are in every. I'm just coming up with a fake conspiracy theory here. Mr. Potato Heads are in every classroom, right? Like, you know, you think about it, in elementary school, you get used to tiny hands, right? Tiny little hands, little Mr. Potato Head hands.
T-Rex is popular.
The T Rex, right? The T Rex has tiny little arms, you know? It was just to get us used to it. You go to the Natural History Museum, you're like, there is nothing bad about a T Rex. It is the coolest thing in the world. Little do you know, they were just slow. It's like the frog boiling, getting used to small T Rex arms and unhealthy Cheetos. I think that's yeah. That's
That does sound like a brain conspiracy.
yeah. Maya was saying that does sound like something Brain would come up with from Pinky and the Brain. See, we figured it out, guys. We've solved all the problems of the world by learning that really the whole time it was Mattel. I think Mattel's who owns Mr. Potato Head, right? Mattel collaborating with Mattel collaborated with Lay's potato chips and came up with a plan. Okay, guys.
We're sorry.
Back to your regular programming here. Okay, so we have gotten a little further on this. My computer's being kind of laggy, which is causing some of these shades to come out a little wacky, a little wild, a little crazy. But we're getting there.
Are you almost done with the next page?
I'm working on it. Are you almost done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, with both? Amazing.
Well, it's not. There's not a lot of scenery. Not like that one page with a freaking palace and a garden and.
Yeah, that was kind of a crazy page. I have to lighten this a little bit here because it went just way too dark. Went way too dark, guys. Too dark. How's everybody doing in the chats? What are you guys working on? I'd love to hear about your creative projects. There it is. Okay. I want to erase some of this because that just went way too dark there. Do all of you have a 3-day weekend? I would hope so. I would guess in Canada there's probably not a 3-day weekend, but here we got MLK Day, which, you know, we'll be able to celebrate for another year, I'd imagine. Next year it'll be called DJT Day. Yeah. They'll probably change it to like Charlie Kirk Day next year or something horrible and horrifying. But anyhow, while we have Martin Luther King Day, we're enjoying a nice 3-day weekend here while we have weekends. I'm just going to be like super dystopian about everything. Well, it's a really nice sunny day outside while we have the sun. Just ultimate doom scrolling kind of talking points. Like, guys, it's really great to see you in chat while you can be in chat. It's nice to hear what you have to say while you can speak. Okay. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. This is fine. That's been this year. It's just the you know, the dog, the this is fine dog. Release the Bernstein Bears files.
Aww.
The Berenstein Bears. Normal weekend for us. Next month, however, have something called Family Day, which is our next holiday. Family Day? That's a great holiday. Philip, what's the worst thing about living in Canada and what's the best thing about living in Canada? What? Because when I was up there, I got like
the worst thing is being next door to America.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that as possibly a negative now. Is like your neighbor.
Like my neighbor's a psycho.
But I got a really just I don't know. It's like Maya and I when we first visited Portland. Yeah, that's true. Jim said next year it'll be RFK Junior Day. He's a junior too. I didn't even think about that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. My computer has been having issues though, guys, so definitely going to just color the rest of this or shade the rest of this page and then probably call it on the stream. Kind of save this where it's at. Philip was saying the heavy snowstorms are the worst. Yeah, because like here's the thing, like when Maya and I, when we were younger, we visited Portland for like the Stumptown Comics Festival, and it was just like it was amazing. You know, we had such an amazing time, and it was just like such an amazing city. It was so like artistic and cool, and so we got this like just fairy tale view, and then living up there, just the constant lack of sun was like a drag, you know, and made us really appreciate California. And then Philip was saying he does like going to the hospital and not having to worry about a bill. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Um but yeah, so like I had a similar experience like visiting Toronto. It was just such a beautiful, like just amazing city, you know. TCAF was amazing. I will try to get back up there anytime. Like if Turner does TCAF, I might try to go. If they do a thing for TCAF, I might try to go again because it was just a very magical experience. It'd be fun to bring my kid there too, because what a fun, just amazing city. We're just kind of finishing up the this here, getting this wrapped as well. Dylan said, "Holy crap, it's Joshua Kemble." Holy crap, it's Dylan. How you doing? How's life treating you, Dylan? Thought I'd live stream today. I've been just working on just a buttload of pages, and I was like, I should live stream. It's been too long. There's something to be said for like working on stuff on your own. Amazing. Our roof guy might be finished. I know the one check's here, and then you can write a check, you know, for the excess amount.
Is there an excess
There,
amount?
yes, because like the remember, it'll be a little bit more.
Oh yeah, because of plywood or something.
No, because the check we got was like 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Because we didn't write him one for 7, right?
No.
Yep. There you go.
Wait, yes we did.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. Okay.
No, it was half. Anyhow, fun times. How are you guys doing? What are you guys working on? Dylan, what are you doing? Dylan, do you have a 3-day weekend? I hope so. It's pretty fun. I stopped by Jeremy's stream the other day. That was pretty fun. Jeremy is always like really fun to watch his stream, and I always forget to tune into it. And it was fun. It was like seeing all my buddies in there. And Jeremy's a really good dude too. A good hang. Dylan said there's been some struggle, but I've been trying to keep positive. How many more pages do you have left? I have about 20 pages, 20 to go. So if my computer would speed up a little bit, that would be good. But yeah, life can be really rough. We've had a rough patch the last year or so too. So I feel like the latest I feel like this next year has to be better than last. Dylan said I enjoyed Jeremy's live stream today. Oh, I missed that. Gary said, yes, we had fun talking. How's it going, Gary Hodges? I got a lot of creative inspiration from the latest DVSM. That's right, Gary was going to be on Jeremy's stream today. So I will have to check that out. I'll watch that. I'll watch that after the fact. And somehow the way I said I'll have to check that out sounded like Christopher Walken. I'll have to check that out. It's crazy because it's probably a good stream. That was my attempt at a Christopher Walken impression. Didn't work out too well, but that's pretty exciting. I'll watch that after when I'm penciling the next page today. I need things to keep me awake on this project. I've been just hammering at it nonstop. Yeah, we had Gary on the last Artcasters to talk about 2001, The Soldier, the latest. Dylan said they were live for like 2 hours, so yeah, nice. That's good. That'll be some good content. But I got a lot of inspiration from Gary's book, like seeing it, because I know that I feel like we've been working almost like side by side on these big projects, and so seeing him get that victory of like finishing gave me some juice to selfishly gave me some juice to like finish my work. Plus, it came out so brilliantly. Um, I mean, it's such a good piece. It really is. Um, there's a lot of heart and emotion in the DVSM books. So I got a little bit of that seeing oh my goodness. Seeing the Detective Perez too, like the just seeing like or seeing like Jim finish like one of his big animations. It's just I get a lot of juice, a lot of creative juice from people. There's a sample for you, Jim. You can make a song saying I get a lot of creative juice. Yeah. All right, let's see here. I do need to get back into making music too, but I've put my little music side projects on hold. Everything's pretty much on hold till this book's done at this point. Other than like school, which starts up next week. Let's see here. But that is one of the cool byproducts of having friends who work on creative projects is you get to get inspired by people you know finishing their crazy goals. The Paul Pate live streamed yesterday morning. I had a good time. Nice. 2 things to check out while I pencil today. Excited about us having a roof that works. That'll be nice. Dylan said, if I could afford it, I'd definitely buy the DVSM dossier. Yeah, I've been buying them as I go, but that's such a good deal, and it's such cool packaging. And I love that, just that the premise of them all being in like a little secret dossier. My Gary packaged all the previous DVSMs into like a black manila envelope kind of thing, but not manila, just black, and then it says like top secret on it, and comes with like some extra stuff. I think that's a cool idea. You should read The Soldier, honey. It's funny. I play one of the characters in it. And some bad things happen to me in that story.
I don't mean to change the subject, but my tummy really hurts. So I'm going to go disappear.
Yes, that's a good idea. Power nap.
No, my tummy.
Well, I was saying you should go power nap.
Oh no, I'm almost done with this page.
Philip said, I actually did a live stream last week talking about AI again, the new Apple Creative Suite coming out. Nice. I don't know. AI is weird. Being somebody who just invested 4 years into a 200-page project, AI is really depressing to me because it's like just the beauty of doing a project and creating every element of it, and being at the finish line of that. It feels like such an accomplishment. It's so weird to think that there's probably people out there just putting in prompts, like almost like somebody having a robot do a marathon or something and feeling like they accomplished something. I think that's disconcerting, but I do hope it kind of balances itself out. Dylan said, I've been meaning to rewatch that live, Philip. I fell asleep within minutes of joining your live stream. Well, that's great. That's enough content right there between Philip, Gary, and Paul's content to like keep me busy while I pencil. Keeping busy while I pencil. There's another clip for Jim. All right, let's see here. What do we got? Dylan said not to glaze Gary much, but I love the idea of the dossier, the tie-in packaging and such. Yeah, no, I think it was a brilliant idea. I like it even more with the reveal, that he's the writer, I think that's great because it's, it's been kind of implied throughout the series, but now that it's like, set in stone that he's been given these top secret files, the idea of it being presented that way is that's really good marketing. And I feel like that angle can really go far at a convention too. I love the idea of creating these moments of questioning for like the audience, like with that book, like is how much of it's real, is just a great kind of gimmick. And I say gimmick in the best of ways, like not a bad gimmick, like an actually like, come on. My computer is on its last legs, guys. But it'll get there. It's just real laggy right now. Needs a rest. Like I'm literally just waiting for it to catch up with the shortcuts on my keyboard. Okay, there we go. There we go. Come on. I drew a line. How long will it take from when I drew the line? Oh, there we go. All right. The GPU or whatever it is, it's just getting to that age, that old age. I do think over the summer I'd like to do in fact maybe even before the summer I'd like to do some live streams where I do some basic intro to art projects that I'm going to be doing with my students. Once I'm wrapped with this book, I think that would be fun. You know, just showing how to do grids, 2-point, 1-point perspective, the color wheel, stuff like that, you know. I think it would be fun to provide for like anybody who's kind of new to the art world, because a lot of my content right now is just kind of like, hey, I'm already in it. I'm not really showing a lot of how-tos. Just waiting for it to catch up. My computer really is not happy. Okay. May the paycheck from this graphic novel be so prosperous that you can buy a better and newer computer. That's what I'm hoping. I'll definitely, like, once I'm done with school, I'll be able to probably afford a newer one. That's one advantage of once I'm credentialed, I'll go up a little bit on the pay scales and stuff. But yeah, a new computer would be nice. It'd be cool to have a second monitor too, because I do this all from one. Dylan said you should do a special live stream celebrating the final page. I will do a special live stream. That sounds great. I'll try to make the rounds too, and you know, talk to people on their live streams. If you guys know of any shows or anything like that that you'd like me to go on to talk about it, I definitely will bug the Making Comics guys too to see if they'll have me on just to talk about the book. But we got a lot of time before September, which is kind of great. That's the nice thing about like, I don't know, book publishers. It's interesting. They need a lot of time to kind of do marketing and get everything listed for the distributor, stuff like that. So I'm glad it kind of worked out. I'm sad it's been delayed so many times, but I also am glad they were okay with it because like one thing I've learned, and this is something I would tell the younger me, but I would tell any young artist is like really make something you're proud of, because I don't think comics are worth it otherwise. Like comics are a gamble and they're kind of a weird underappreciated medium that doesn't, you know, make a ton of money, especially in the day of AI now, right? Where there's probably going to be like 1 million books on the market made by machines. So in those cases, if you're going to invest, you know, like 4 years of your life or something onto a project, why not invest 4 years and 1 month and make sure it's something you're proud of rather than something you're not really super proud of. Dylan said you should try Lori's live stream. She's booked until like mid 2026, July or August. Nice. Maybe I'll book her up for September or something like that. I gotta save this. Philip said, I'm starting Art Block again soon. I don't know if I have many subscribers, but I'd love if you can come on and talk about it. Yeah, I'd love to, man. All right. We're getting a little bit of delay, but still some pages able to get some progress. Until my computer freezes. This feels like having to work in slow motion here. Okay. Yeah, this delay is really bad. Let's see where we're at. I'm just hoping I can actually draw. I might have to end the stream kind of soon, just because like the delay, the GPU on this is like nuts right now. But we'll just kind of have to see if it starts speeding up a little bit. I think if I use a smaller brush, it kind of goes a little quicker. Getting this this hair. Oh, I have a friend who does comic creator interviews, and last year I gave her a whole list of indie creators she could contact to get the show. That's awesome. Indie comics are the best, guys. Where else are you going to get like a historical fiction story about, you know, the Brownings, right? I'm really excited about this book, guys. It's a beautiful book, and this like ending part is really phenomenal. You know how there's some books that like you like read it and the threads don't tie at the end? This is not one of those stories. Like every little side tangent has a purpose. Everything gets wrapped in a very fulfilling bow at the end. And it's got like a Jane Austen kind of vibe to it too. So if you're into like Jane Austen, or you're into like my favorite era of Sherlock Holmes. The BBC Panorama era, like if you like that kind of ominous, you know, mystery almost, it's kind of a big part of it. Okay, guys, we're getting there. Dylan said, I gotta support creatives the best way I can. You know, like that is the coolest thing you can do, is like share or support. One of the coolest things people did with Jacob's apartment was just go to their local library, you know, like especially if they couldn't afford the book, just request that the library carries it, you know? And that was pretty cool. It ended up being ordered at some really cool libraries all over the country, and like to me that's cool because like that means that there's a chance that like some somebody who's never heard of me like might, you know, stumble upon, you know, that book at a library. How cool is that, you know? As long as those exist. Okay. Come on. I did the shortcut for eraser. You can do that. Thank you, computer. It's gradually adding a little bit of shadow here. Philip said I have to head out. It's been fun listening, Josh. Thank you, Philip. I'll check out your stream too. Probably later tonight when I'm working on the pencils for the next page. I'm really excited though. I feel like we're getting close, guys. We're getting close to that point. It's the final countdown, okay? Like in your head, play that song, right? The channel name is Splash Pages Comic Book Club. And the one you'll want to speak to is Carrie. She's my friend. Nice. Yeah, right now I'm still at that marathon point where I can barely start thinking about promoting yet. But I will probably hit you up about that in a week or so when I'm done with this madness. Enjoy your day, Philip. You guys should all check out Philip Chandler's art channel too. He's an amazing artist. If you guys have enjoyed this channel, the caricature that the channel starts out with was a gift from Philip. Just an incredible artist. He used to do a lot of backgrounds for animation. Very, very skilled cartoonist and proud Canadian. Been a friend of the channel since I started streaming years ago. Probably about back when I started this book, you know. I think I started streaming a little bit before starting this book. So if you want to go back through the streams too, you can see me probably working on page 1, you know, with less gray hair. And at that point, I wasn't wearing glasses. Today, I decided to opt to not have my glasses on because generally, the frustrating thing about this new world of wearing glasses. There's a certain distance that like it doesn't help too much with, and my computer monitor is like right at that sweet spot of like sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. And today my eyes were kind of tired, so and since I'm doing shading, I've just decided maybe I don't need my glasses. Dylan said, I believe they're booked out until April, so you've got plenty of time concerning their schedule. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way is Instagram. Nice. Yeah, I'm everything I'm going to be promoting is going to be like September for September. So and like, you know, so yeah, that's kind of cool. That does give me a lot of time. And again, I don't know what all we're doing for like signings and stuff like that yet. So I will keep you guys informed. But right now it's like the mindset has to just be let's get this done first. That might be kind of step 1. And let's just do a little bit of shading here. I'm just having to like guess some of the shading because it like shows up after I've done it. Okay. Let's go. All right, let's see if this is still working here. What's up, hon? I know. Our dogs are like really trying to sound the alarm like, hey, there's a guy on the roof. There's a guy on the roof. He's seeing them all out there.
They're coming for us.
It's pretty cute that this morning, our dog Georgie, he like when I woke up, he went under the covers, and then I just heard him grumbling under the covers. He was like, like, just really not happy that there's people walking around on his roof, you know. Yeah, he was like, I'm tired, but I'm not happy about these guys on the roof. Dogs are great. All right. This is going to get much darker here. I'm just trying to do my best with the laggy computer I'm dealing with here. I feel like a manager, when I mention one of the comic creators that I know to someone to see, they'd be open to reach out to one of you to get on their show. Nice. I'm more than happy to have some publicity. So the more you want to spread the word, the more appreciated that is. You'd be surprised, man. Just even giving a book recommendation or like leaving a positive review. That's one of the funniest things about books that you never realize is like just somebody leaving like a note on like Amazon is like unbelievably hard to get someone to do. Whereas if you wrote something that pissed people off, like you'd have just like endless comments, you know, but like for some reason even on this stream, a good example of that is chat is fairly active, but the most active I ever have my chats is if I said something that irritated someone. And then suddenly people out of nowhere are like, "Arr, I'm mad. Now I can talk," you know. But people actually sharing love for something, that's a hard thing to get people to do. So I appreciate it. Because that's a rare thing. I talk up my friends all the time though, like my creative friends. Like I think for some reason a lot of people view the world as like a zero sum game, where they almost think of it like we're in a game of what is that game with the it's all the different foods and stuff. Oh, Settlers of Catan. A lot of people look at the world and life like Settlers of Catan. Like you've got limited resources. It's a zero sum game. You have to take it all. Um, and I don't know. Like I feel like even if that is the world we live in, that's not how I want to view things. I like to view things as like with an abundance mindset. You know, where the more people I know who are doing comics and succeeding at it, the more energy I get to do comics and succeed at it. Like it doesn't feel like if somebody bought like Paul's book or Gary's book, I don't feel like, oh, that's one less book I'll sell, you know. I feel more like if you buy their books and you like them, that's great because they're good books and I'm trying to do good books. And if you like good books, that's good for all books. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, if you enjoy movies, that's good for all movies, right? I don't know if that makes sense. It's like, it's not a competition. And it's always scary when you meet somebody who views everything as a competition, or like, I definitely knew some people when I was in my 20s who were a little over competitive and would get like jealous or hostile if you ever had success or if anyone around them had success. And nowadays, like at the age I'm at, I just don't have time for that kind of mentality with things, you know? So anyhow, point being, I just really appreciate the support. Speaking of, we're about 2 hours in. I'm almost done with shading this page, except my computer decided to slow down on the last panel. Really, it was just like, nope, I'm not gonna work now. But anyhow, because of that, if you've been enjoying this stream, just make sure you hit like, you know, hit the bell so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. Let's see if this will work here. Okay. I just want to do one wash over the hair, but because it's working like a right now, it's kind of playing with like the speed of Pong on an Atari. You guys ever remember Atari? Like every once in a while it would get like heated up and like the Pong would just slow down. And so you'd like make like a right movement, and then like 10 hours later it would be like like okay. I think that's good. I think if it right now you can't even see this on the screen, but I'm just getting a lot of slowing messages. Okay, right now I'm going to quit out of some things just to see if that helps. So we'll force quit just on this ancient computer. So we got Illustrator open, I don't need that. I've got Pages open, I don't need that. We'll see if those speed things up a little bit. Force quitting out of some stuff. Just less GPU usage. Oh, okay, that does kind of speed things up slightly. Okay. Here we go. Gonna start shading this hair. And we're just going to get through this last panel before we kind of call it on the live stream. What I might do then is actually eat lunch. That might be good. Oh, that might be the billing. Can you get it, hun? Okay. The dogs are freaking out because the roof guy finished. Did the stream just cut? Because I'm seeing chat just completely dead right now, but maybe not. I'm just going to continue and hopefully the stream comes back. If you guys are still seeing it, let me know. My chat is like completely dead on my StreamYard or on OBS. So I can't read the chat right now. That's very strange. But I'm just going to go ahead and finish up. Hopefully I'm not frozen on the screen here. About 2 hours into the stream. Very strange. Gonna erase this and then kind of continue. We'll see how far we get. If you guys are chatting currently and you can still hear me, I don't know what happened with the stream, so the chat seems dead on my end. I'm not able to read it, but it looks like I'm still streaming, so I'm gonna just kind of push through, and hopefully the chat will return to my screen. My ancient computer here having trouble handling all the data. It just needs a rest. I've been working nonstop for on this book for days, so it's probably just my computer kind of being like, no. But now the shading seems to be working, so that's good. So I'm just gonna kind of push through and kind of assume that we're still live here. So we're just pushing through, shading away. And we'll just keep going. Anyhow, it's a lovely Sunday, and I'm glad it's a 3-day weekend because that's going to give me plenty of time to kind of catch up on this madness. I really am hoping to finish this book up within the next week. And if I can keep making progress, the next few days should be pretty good for that. Let's see how we look on YouTube. I'll look it up. Maybe I can follow the chats from there. Okay, I'm seeing an issue there. So maybe there is a lag. We'll see. Okay. So I'll double check the chats on YouTube once it pops up. Because I'm guessing it might just be OBS. But we'll just kind of continue through. This is the high-tech world of my live stream. Welcome. If you guys are just tuning in, I'm working on page 209 of Not Death But Love, the Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. This is the graphic novel I've been working on for about 4 years, and we're working on we're kind of at the end stretch, like the very last bit of the book. And it should be pretty close to done within the next few weeks. It's up for pre-order right now on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble. And it does seem to be kind of working. Let's see here. That's strange. Oh. Hey, okay, cool. It is showing up. So it says, no, you're still here. Fatah, I've been working for a fortnight. And then he said, since you're here, Gary, do you want me to send my friend your IQ? Nice. All right, I don't know why chats froze on the computer, but it is running faster, and I can follow the chats on my phone. So if you guys do chat me, I can read it, which is great.
Josh, can you help Benjamin real quick? He's calling.
I can't because I'm right in the middle of this.
Right now.
Okay, give me a second.
Where did my checkbooks go?
I don't know.
Do you have them?
I don't think so. Oh, there you go.
That looks empty. That's empty.
Okay. I don't know.
Please check here.
Yeah, they aren't here. They're probably on my desk, maybe.
Just
Give
a
me
second,
2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Well, Mr. Stryker, I have you now. There is no escape. You will tell me where the Kemble files are, or you will die beneath the crushing electric arms of my shocktopus.
I hear you chirping, little birdie, but JT Stryker ain't no stool pigeon.
Very well. You have left me no choice. Bring out the doctor. Say hello to Dr. Hodges. I'm sure you're familiar with the doctor and his work.
If by work you mean the murder and torture of innocents, yeah, I'm familiar.
I've waited a long time for this moment, Stryker, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
That's what your mother said.
Well, that's a horrible thing to say. You don't even know my mother.
Don't let him interrupt you. Come on, man.
Look, fellas, we can tango here all night, but it doesn't change a thing. You're never getting the Kemble files.
Oh, I beg to differ, Stryker. I have certain negotiation methods.
Your mom has negotiation methods.
Stop it. That doesn't even make sense. It's not applicable.
Listen up, compadres, and listen good. Option 1, I'm giving you 2 bozos an out. You untie me, I walk out of here, and everybody goes home happy. Option 2, I kill everyone in this room and then...
You idiot! You killed him! I felt triggered. I've been learning to stand up to bullies. I just read 2 stories. Joshua Kemble's raw, introspective graphic novel chronicling mental health, faith, and the struggle for redemption. I also read Jacob's Apartment, a coming-of-age graphic novel about faith, love, and post-college existential drama. They've changed my life choices.
I'm sorry, I had no idea. I too am a fan of the books of the Joshua Kemble. But I'm still going to have to kill you.
Kill me with kindness?
Hello again. So we're back. Sorry, we had to write a check to the roof guy, and then I had to give my son some water because he wanted a refill of his water, which is pretty easy peasy. But we're finishing up, the. I finally got my GPU back, or CPU, or whatever it is that causes my computer to actually run. So this last part might go a lot smoother than the last panel. And figured out the chat issues and all that fun stuff. So if you guys are here and watching, welcome. We're just going to finish up this page. Pretty exciting times. And what's cool is once I'm done with this, the next page will be 210. So that leaves about 20 pages left to go, which is pretty cool. I'll probably be working on 210 a little bit later today. And might chat about some other stuff. Okay. And we're just layering some shading. Finishing up this page. All right. And then just finishing up this leg here. Trying to kind of keep the light source like roughly top right. And making some good progress. I'm glad my computer's not dead anymore. I don't know what happened. It's funny because it was like behaving like a dead machine, and then like the chat died on my OBS, and suddenly like this is running fine. So I don't know. Whatever. I can still read the chat from my phone, and that leaves me in a good position here. Kind of finish up this page a little bit. Which is exciting times. Okay. Let's erase out this part. There's a little bit of blobbiness going on with the hand. I'm not sure what that is. Let me clean that up a little bit. And then I'm not sure. Yep, that's the other area that has blobs. That will kind of clean up a little bit. Okay, so now I want to basically do the background, and then we'll wrap up the stream. Thanks to you guys who tune in. I know it's like kind of rambly, just working on stuff, but I do love hanging out with everybody while doing this this madness that is comics. It's a lot of fun. And it's possible. Like that's the thing I love about like I was talking about, you know, seeing Gary's book and Jim's, you know, finishing up the Unicornians, seeing Paul like finish up his Detective Perez book, like his latest one. Seeing you guys get this stuff done, I think it's like one of the cool things about art, and knowing other artists and stuff, is being able to see that it's possible. Because a lot of people, when they take on or think about taking on a comic project, it can kind of feel like the most impossible thing in the world. And the thing I love about these projects is they are really, it really is like a tortoise and hare thing, where it's like slow and steady, kind of not listening to doubt, just kind of like pushing through. And the cool thing is, like, you know, suddenly a 200 plus page graphic novel is possible. And I think when I took this on, if I'm honest, I probably had some doubts as to whether, even though I was like, yeah, I can do that. I probably had some slight doubts and misgivings, like, I don't know if I could do that. And here we are. Here we are, and it's happening, which is cool. So hopefully that gives hope to, like, yeah, I mean, 4 years later. But the neat thing is, like, there's a lot of people who just would have given up, and that's really the difference. Is like, I think that's really the difference in art, is like, maybe we're all crazy, like those of us who just stick with stuff, but it's like, it really just requires, like, you know, showing up, doing the work, and trusting the process, and learning from it, and adjusting, and getting better and quicker. And I definitely have seen that throughout the process of this book. Is like, it initially, these pages took quite a bit longer. The last week I've been managing to bust out pretty much at minimum a page a day. Right now I'm averaging about a page and a half a day. And that's pretty impressive considering these were taking about a week, you know? So it all is possible. Okay, here we go. And that's why it's important to, like, know people who are working on stuff outside of just yourself, right? Because they show you what's possible. Like, Gary took on a pretty crazy book and managed to do the impossible. And I'm taking on a crazy book. I think I'm going to manage to do what seems impossible, even now, kind of seems slightly impossible. So, like, a lot of this stuff is just the head game of just doing it, doing the work. And as you can see through the stream, I mean, I've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And that's kind of the, I think that's the part a lot of people don't realize when they look at a comic, is like, it, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not good at drawing, or, oh, I'm not, you know, there's like endless excuses as to why, just almost to allow people to like to feel like like other people are in some special class that they're not. And instead, a lot of it's just the people who are insane enough to do it. I kind of think that's half the fun of this thing. But I mean, I can tell you, during the process of making this book, we've had family members who got sick. We've lost friends. We've like I've had a career change. Again, we had a leaky roof. We have like everything in the world comes up when you're working on these projects. Real world stuff, like real heavy stuff. And a lot of it is just the willpower to kind of see through it. Dylan said, I've had an old idea pop up and I've been wondering if I should start working on it. I'm dealing with a lot right now, but I could create it at night and on the weekends. Yeah, just set aside like, I know it's corny, but just spend, 10 minutes a day on your thing. It's a sacrifice, and I don't mean that as like a oh poor me kind of thing, but it is a sacrifice. Like, there's a lot of time I lost with my kid, that because of this book, there's some money I lost out on, right? I could have been freelancing and taking better paying work, or take a second job, or done extracurricular stuff at my school. But it's kind of like anything, like in life, I think a lot of it's like whether you really are willing to do what you need to do to get whatever it is done. Does that make sense?
The lovely thing is, you're your own boss, dude. You can do it if you want to. You don't have to.
Yeah, no one has to do this stuff, but I see this all the time as an art teacher, where I have an art class that I teach, and if you follow along and you do the work in my class, you will come out knowing how to draw. Like, and you'll draw better. Like, and I mean, I've seen it a million times. Like, kids come into my class, feel like they can't draw, they work hard, and the next thing you know, they're drawing beautifully. There just really is a thing where it's like, again, I think it's easy to look at people doing things you want to do and go, well, they're lucky, or, oh, they're talented. And a lot of it, I mean, yes, there are some people. I'll use my wife as an example. My wife is quicker at drawing than I am. Like, she's much faster at art than I am, and very accurate and very good at turning things around in her head, right? And so I could look at her and go, well, I don't draw as fast, and so I can't do a book, right? And by the way, my wife and I were in classes with artists who are incredible. Like, there's an artist we were in school with named Jeremy Spears, who's one of the key head artists at Pixar right now. I mean, or sorry, Disney. He worked for Pixar for a bit, but he did those what's the animal movies?
He worked on
Princess and the Frog, but
Yeah.
what's the animal one though? Because that's the one he did a more primary role on. Zootopia, that's it. The Zootopia film. So he's like one of the key story artists on Zootopia, and then we've got Oksana, who we've had as a guest on the. Yeah, Chris Cawagua, Oksana, Philip, like these are all people we've had on Artcasters. They're incredible artists. Like, I mean, and some of them are working on like Marvel movies and stuff. And I mean, dude, even in our own like circle, like Jim Lujan, like has done like animations for and won a bunch of awards. And Corey Kerr is like so talented. Like, there's so many people I know that are talented, but like, I really do think the through line is like whether you really want the thing that you're saying you want to do, or whether you're just kind of coming up with excuses for like why you can't. And in reality, it's like you can, you just don't want to put in the work, Or you have ADD, or like, or you have like crazier life circumstances than what we're dealing with, because like it is hard, like the career change did delay this book by about a year. I had a little mental health thing like early on in this book that I don't even like thinking about, so it's like I understand that things come up and sometimes it will be impossible, but I do think quite often, what I've been amazed by is like, and this is the cool thing about the creative process is like, my versus David fastest illustrator competition, David would win. My wife is fast, but like David Hartman, being able to make a fully finished comic page in 1 hour that's full color. I mean, yeah, I don't think any of us are that. I didn't go to school. I will tell you, I didn't go to school with anyone. Yeah, I've never been around artists as fast as David Hartman. Like he is remarkably fast. He is very gifted. But like that's the thing is like a lot of people might see somebody like David Hartman and they're like me and they're not nearly as fast and they'd be like, well, I'm not fast enough, so I just won't do it. And my point is like you can either come up with excuses or like really just push through. A lot of it it's funny too because I've been watching that Caleb Hammer show, which I encourage you guys to check out if you're into like really trashy Jerry Springer Judge Judy type stuff. But Caleb Hammer like will have people on his show who are like struggling with finances and they have every excuse in the book. They're like, oh, we went through a hard time or this came up or that came up. And like, he'll always make the point, like, look, like if you don't budget, like it doesn't matter. Like there's always going to be something, there's always something horrible that's going to be an excuse for like not budgeting or not, living within your means. And like, and you'll see these people and, it's like, it's a similar thing to like when I hear people who want to make art or they have like their dream project that they've never worked on. And it's like, but then I find out like, okay, they like spend, 30 minutes a day, like watching TV. Right. And it's like, well, do you want to do comics? Cause like that 30 minutes could be doing comics and, or do they want to do comics? Cause like at the end of the day, even if they spend that 30 minutes instead of watching TV making a book, maybe the book doesn't sell. Right? So maybe it's like the reality of comics that they don't want to do, right? Where it's like, well, I have this great story, but I don't want to face the heartbreak of like spending 4 years on something that could not hit. But to me, I like, and I tell my kids this when I teach art, it's like, I'd rather see an epic failure than like a mediocre, safe kind of like thing, where it's like a safe, just playing it safe. So anyhow, I don't know. That was just a little rant, but and I'm not bragging. I'm not saying I have some superpower. That's the thing that's frustrating about it. I don't have any superpower. And these things take time. I'm on page 209 and it's taken 4 years. But I'm still ahead of somebody who's just talking about what they want to do and not doing it. And I shouldn't be. Like they should be able to do their thing too. It's just willpower. You just gotta focus on it and make it happen. Dylan said sometimes I joke to myself that the Artcasters family circle jerks each other, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's nice to have a group of people that know each other and that support each other. Yeah, and that is the truth. I mean, we encourage each other because we're in a world of people who just want to burn stuff and consume things. And and in a world like that, you got to cling really tightly to the people who actually want to make something. And are willing to like, for whatever reason, whether it's like maybe we're all crazy, but like for whatever reason, willing to like spend the time and make the sacrifice to make the thing that they feel like they're supposed to make. I want to be surrounded by people like that. I want to be the dumbest guy in the room. I want to be the worst artist in the room sometimes. Like, just surround myself with people who inspire me, you know? Anyhow, so that's a rant. That's the rant to end the stream. If you guys haven't hit the bell to get notifications, hit that. If you haven't hit the like, hit like. If you haven't started your art project, start it. What's the point? What are you waiting for, right? If you have a book that you've always dreamed of doing, or you know, you watch a movie, it gives you a really strong feeling, you're like, man, I should do my movie. Well, there's nothing to stop you other than, you know, there are sometimes life circumstances that are crazy. And in that case, don't beat yourself up, right? But I do think, at least in my own life, like thinking about just taking on this book, every time I've taken on a graphic novel, I never secretly, I never really felt like I could do it, but I just would do it. And then these things get done. And sometimes they take heartbreakingly longer than you want them to, like this book. But hey, you know, it's going to be done in a couple weeks. All right, guys, have a good night. I appreciate you. You guys are amazing. And you are my community, and I love my community. And I hope you guys have a good day. I'm going to go eat, possibly nap, and then hit the comics again. With that being said, thanks, guys, and I will see you on the next live stream. You guys are amazing. And bye, Dylan. Bye, Gary. Bye, everybody. Thanks for showing up in the chats, and Philip too. It was really nice to hear from him. And I'll be catching up with I guess Jeremy had Gary on. I totally forgot that was today, so I'm gonna listen to that. I'll listen to Philip's stream and kind of catch up on what everybody was doing. All right, have a good one. Oh, and also Paul Pate, I guess, had a stream. So I got a lot to watch while I pencil the next page, and then I'll be back possibly late in the night working on the next shaded page. All right, bye.